Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and I'm always happy to connect with you guys. If this is your first time on my channel, you're highly welcome. So like, subscribe, and leave your comment below. Today I have a wonderful, amazing personality with me, as always, the great guy, the fresh guy, and all of that, a friend of mine here. And he goes by the name.
My name is Ubugo Tuluchi. Super excited to be here again.
Okay, happy to have you here, bro.
Thank you.
So today we are checking out why do Muslims don't marry non-Muslims. Yeah, sometimes you used to ask me this question.
Yeah.
I think I'll find the right answer now. Yeah. So without wasting your time, guys, let's just dive into it.
You are gentlemen, as I see. Everybody here that I look at is a male so far. Now, suppose you went home tonight, every one of these distinguished gentlemen.
Yes.
And all of your daughters chose this day to tell you that they had decided to marry the Jewish boy down the street
Right.
or the Christian boy that was walking around. Young people, often they start all these things. And then how do you speak to them when you say, look, the Jew is my brother, the Christian is my brother, but we don't get married. And then you come back to white doesn't want to marry black, and then everybody passes laws. So intermarriage, or what they decided. What if your son came home and said, I have been a good Muslim for 30 years, but suddenly I have decided to become a Christian? I mean, so what do you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Your second question about marriage. Islam tells us, see, in detail now, whom we can and whom we can't. We follow this biblical injection to the letter, where the Bible says that an idolater or an idolatress thou shalt not marry. Now we uphold that. An idolater and an idolatress thou shalt not marry. So my son falls in love with a Hindu girl. My religion says, no, you can't marry her. No man, how beautiful she is. No man, how much she allures. One is that you can't marry. Now, racially, with the Hindus, most of the Hindus, we are one language group. We have the same racial stock. We carry the same surnames. We enjoy the same dishes. But because of our religious concept, idea of God, my religion says, no, you can't marry an idolater or an idolatress. I can, my religion allows me to marry a Christian woman or a Jewess.
It does allow you to
It does
marry?
allow, yes. It does
I
allow.
didn't know that.
The reason. There's a reasoning behind it. Is look, we are so close. If I marry a Christian, a Jewess, for example, I would be the last man to say anything abusive about any of the Jewish heroes. Moses, David, Solomon, Jesus. We have the highest respect for them. So this wife of mine, a Jewess, she will be still at home with me. In other words, I respect Moses, I respect David, Solomon, all the prophets. What I'm going to tell her with her and reason with her is, so come dear, now come a step forward. You have been at a certain level of religious education. Come 2 steps forward. One is to accept Jesus and then accept Muhammad as well. So I'm asking her to come to a higher level of understanding religion. To the Christian woman, in this country, when I said that at first, that look, we are allowed to marry Christian women. So the white men in the audiences, when I delivered talks, they were thinking, say, yeah, I know why. So I said, why? He said, just because we are whites. You think now marrying a white woman is a superior thing to do? I said, no. Even if the Christian woman is an African woman, she is a Hottentot, she is a Bushman, she is Christian, I can marry her. Because again, we are so close. We accept Jesus as one of the mightiest messengers of God. We accept him as the Messiah. We accept his miraculous birth. We accept his many miracles. The only point of real difference between me and my spouse, that Christian lady, would be that I would say, look, he is not God. He is not the begotten Son of God. But everything else, we have a common denominator. We have one with the Jew. We have a common denominator with the Christian. So we said, we can get them, and more easily they can be absorbed in the house of Islam. Because whatever you believe, we believe, plus a step further. But now my daughter can't marry a Hindu man, nor can she marry a Jew, nor can she marry a Christian. Now the Hindu is understood being an idol worshipper. But now you say, what about the Jew and the Christian? I can marry a Jewess and I can marry a Christian woman. Why can't my daughter marry a Jew or a Christian?
Yeah.
Now, the reason is that you see the Christian husband of my daughter, he's got no respect for Muhammad. He's going to use an offensive language. He's going to say Muhammad is an imposter.
Why?
Because that's
Not
his training.
necessarily.
No, that's his training. Because as soon as you say that you accept Muhammad as a prophet, you're a Muslim. You see, when you say, I say, look, Muhammad, you will say, look, Muhammad was a great man. Everybody says so. He was a mighty man. You know, he created a nation and an empire and a religion. He is supposed to have left behind a book, like the Quran. So he says, look, I take off my hat to the man. He's the great. And so many people say he was one of the greatest men that ever lived. Michael H. Hart, in his top 100, he puts Muhammad number 1.
Yes.
Jules Masserman, you know, in his book on the Turks, history of
Top
the Turks.
100 men.
Right, in the top 100. Then Jules Masserman, in the history, who are history's great leaders. And Lamartine, in his history of the Turks. He says if greatness of purpose, smallness of means, and outstanding results are the 3 criteria of human greatness, who could dare to compare any great man in modern history with Muhammad? He's daring people, bring your candidates. So in other words now, from that point of view, the Christian, the Westerner, will be prepared to concede that Muhammad was a great man. But he was an imposter. In other words, he was a false prophet. So that's the biggest barrier now. Because if you accept that he was also a prophet means that God chose him. If God chose Muhammad, now Muhammad tells you that the flesh of the swine thou shalt not eat. Now you can say, look, I like pork chops. You know, all my life I've been enjoying it. He said, look, this man is a prophet of God and is authorized by God to tell you now, don't eat the pig. Don't drink alcohol. No promiscuousness. Don't dance or court or date women. So at every step now, if you believe in this man, that he is a prophet of God, you have to listen to him. It's not just a word saying, I believe he's a prophet. It means nothing. When you say he is a prophet of God, what does it imply? It means that he is chosen by God. Now, if he's chosen by God to guide you, to tell you now, according to your capacity now, that you are not to touch alcohol, you are not to take interest, you're not, whatever he tells you, it becomes binding on you, which you are not prepared to accept. Who? The Jew or the Christian.
Mr. DEEDAT, I have to, last time I was...
So what do you have to say? Yeah.
Well, he has a point. The same way with Christians is rather you avoid, you know, if you don't believe in the same thing, why not avoid it instead of, you know, causing conflict, you know, or making you feel a person is going to drag you away from what you believe in, and you don't wonder, why not avoid it? So the same way they avoid Hindu, we Christian we avoid, we say idol worshippers. We don't go, we don't like get mingle with them. Yes, like we deal with them business and every week. Could even have friends who do that, but in terms of marriage is a sacred institution where you know we don't take that lightly. Yeah, so yes, he has a point. But the same way he says we can marry from Islam. Yeah, we can't even marry Jews. The same way, it's actually like the reverse.
Okay, you can't marry Jews.
We can.
Okay.
Christians can. See, mostly Christians even more flexible. Most Christians will go as far as marrying people from different other religions, and for the fact that they can convince them or preach to them or
for them to be a Christian.
But it's dangerous. You never know. In your process of trying to convince, you get convinced. Just look at the case of Solomon. Like in the Bible, he has so many wives from different countries and nations, and then they brought in their different idols into the palace, and he was like, oh, build me an altar. Before you know, Solomon himself almost turned to an idol worshiper because he was
in the Bible.
Yes, in the Bible. Like he was always okay. So like, oh, but you built for this person. Why my own? You build. Like, oh, the idol for my father's house. You build, and the rest of that. You know, a lot of things like that. So yeah. That's he has a point in what he's saying. Okay.
So for the Muslim side, when it comes to Solomon, it's different. Like he was a prophet of God, like having concubines. No, God gave him gifts to like control devils and other things, but like doing those stuff was not part of our own religion. We didn't mention anything like that. And yeah, you have a point there. Like we are allowed to ask a guy to marry a Christian or Jews if she accepts that Muhammad is a prophet, and that means like she's a Muslim as well. So you see, with time, maybe she will convert, or you try to like talk to her to convert. You understand? And at the same time, you don't know, because the children that will be coming next, it's like, it's a new thing. Like they need to choose where they're going to be. Are they going to be with the mom or the dad? You get, and so it's like that. And for me personally, I always advise, like, instead of you to like go back and marry someone with the opposite faith to like teach the person again, why can't you just marry your Muslim sister from your side? Yeah, because like, if you don't marry them, you marry someone, who will marry them? It's the person from the other side that will marry them. So taking time to learn, teach them again. It's nice, yeah. If they convert, it's nice. We're really happy to like convert. But for me personally, I think like, instead of you to like go marry like a Christian or Jew, why can't you marry your Muslim sister? Because if you don't marry them, what will happen? They'll be there, and another person from the other side will come marry them. So it's a good point to try. Like, I always have issue to like tackle this thing, yeah, seriously. So, but I think I've got my point. I think even in the Bible, apart from that one Corinthians where he mentioned about not marrying idolaters, I think King Ahab, and
he married
40 prophets of Baal, Jezebel, they wrote it that you should not marry from the other side. Yeah, so all those things.
Even
that was the first
in the
time.
Bible, even Abraham, Isaac told, Abraham told his son Isaac that you should make sure they don't marry from other nations.
The Gentiles?
Yes, from other nations, because of their worshipping of
idol.
So during when Jacob and Esau had the issues of blessing, out of spite, Esau wanted to spite the father because he felt he has lost the whole blessings to his brother. He went to marry from other nations.
Okay.
So, and you could see where it led.
Okay, so thanks for coming. I really appreciate having you guys. So guys, we've come to the end of this reaction. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and leave your comment below. And don't forget to like check this channel, the Ogu God's Will Uche's channel, yeah. So check it out. Nice content, great content. So till we meet again. Bye.